Hi there, my name is August, and I wrote a book called The Phoenix Protocol on dry fasting and a bunch of other things. So you're probably here wondering what the heck dry fasting is. Typically on this website I come to the beach and take a few beach walks and talk about it. So let's go for a walk. You know, dry fasting is a technique that was developed in Russia in the last century, where you just don't drink or eat while you fast for days. They only took it to 11 days and found that anything longer than that didn't give any real results of any benefits. But usually a 7-day is all you need, because they were using 11-day dry fast for these intractable illnesses. Couldn't be, fixed by modern medical science. So they put the patients on a regime where they just didn't eat or drink for days. What happens is it just extends your sleep metabolism. Do you eat or drink while you sleep? Most people don't. And so that's the gist of it. There are specific things that happen during it, and I'll discuss in a minute. But the reason people dry fast is because, of course, it fixes medical issues. But there's a lot of other benefits. One of the benefits is to relieve yourself of all the toxins you've been storing for decades. I'm sure you remember when you were a kid, you used to sleep a lot, even as a teenager, as much as you could, because that's when you heal things. But as the accumulation of indigestible metabolic waste from living, from food, builds up, a lot of it can't be fixed at night, and it just ends up stuck off to the side. Because if you can't fix it, don't even think about it. Put it someplace where it's safe. So it's sequestered, usually in fat cells. This is particularly interesting in the phenomena of cellulite. Cellulite is from eating polyunsaturated fatty acids in specific poisonous seed, nut, and vegetable oils, because when they're concentrated, they are. But I digress. During a dry fast, you get rid of all these toxins, which relieves all the cellular pressure to allow your cells to go back to operating normally. It's like junk inside the cells that makes it really hard for the cells to operate correctly. So it gets rid of that. The other thing is, because you're not drinking any water, you're parching out your parasites. And they tell you to eat stuff you shouldn't eat. Lots of sugary stuff, especially, because that's how they stay alive. But they can't make their own endogenous water like you can. So they just die off. So you get rid of your parasites. It gives you a brand new immune cell. The whole immune cell population is increased, because after day 2, you'll run out of glycogen. Your body runs off of 2 systems, fat deposition and sugar. And fat deposition is to draw on when there isn't any sugar coming in, so you can keep your mitochondria working. Because your mitochondria is what produces the life that you so lovingly enjoy. Now, during this time period, when you cut out all the glycogen, you're not taking any sugar in, the body transforms to fat metabolism. It starts cleaving triglycerides in fat cells for free fatty acids and glycerol. Glycerol goes to your liver to make plasma glucose to keep your blood and brain alive, because they require sugar. And it's done that way. The free fatty acids go into the mitochondria and produce ATP and water, because during this electron transport chain action inside the mitochondria, frees up a lot of hydrogen and protons. So, oxygen and protons, hydrogen, H2O makes water. So your body makes lots of water. That's why you're not thirsty on a dry fast. So the idea that if you don't drink in 3 days, you'll die. Nah, your body makes water all the time anyway. It's just what it does. It's one of the safeguards. Make sure homeostasis stays nice and level. It doesn't go up or down or crazy. It's there to keep it level. Normal homeostasis. The magical thing about dry fasting, and the reason we use it in the book, The Phoenix Protocol, is that after you run out of glycogen, your ketones are, at level 12, really dark purple on the keto sticks. But when you get into ketosis, protein kinase A drops out. Without protein kinase A, needed for digestion, dropping away, your stem cells stay asleep. But when it drops out, they wake up, because this turns on proteins that activate regeneration, replication, all that kind of stuff in stem cells. So you get a free endogenous stem cell infusion, you know, not 25,000 each shot, leave the country and all the expenses around that. But yeah, for free. There are some things you have to worry about though. You don't want to do it too long. You don't want to do it too often, because you're tapping into your stem cells to regenerate, and you don't want to tap into them too often. They're your emergency crew that fixes things when things break. And afterwards, you want to replenish your electrolytes, because during a dry fast, you've used a lot of magnesium to keep making ATP, because that's what it does. You know, and so you have to replenish your electrolytes, eat a certain way in a recovery phase to make sure you don't hurt yourself with refeeding syndrome. I talk about it in the book. You need to get the book. If you really are serious about dry fasting, you need the book. The other thing is, if that bright object up there, you know, ends up having a huge solar flare and smashes our electronic system, you got a book. You know, digital information is great, but it's kind of hard to access if there's no electricity. Anyway, so the book is there. The book, The Phoenix Protocol, is a very interesting book. It's a fast read. Tells you how it works, how you work, why dry fasting is probably the best and safest form of self-induced hormetic stress you can come up with, because it just fixes you, you know? That's the whole idea. The Phoenix Protocol employs dry fasting to fix you and to regenerate stem cells, so you end up with more cells to fight the somatic paradox. Don't just let your normal body cells deal with replication. Bring in some new troops every now and then. And that's where the radical life extension title in the book comes from. It turns out that regenerating stem cells on a regular basis remodels, retissues, and even rebuilds and actually replaces tissue with brand new tissue. In fact, stem cells have active telomerase, so stem cells are practically immortal cells that are replacing old, dead, dying somatic cells. It's a great thing. You know, I can't promote it enough. But the reason I got into it is pretty simple. A few years ago, before I did my first dry fast in 2019, I had suffered for 3 years from a PVC pipe cement solvent destruction of my epithelial nerves in my nose. Couldn't smell. Lost my sense of smell. And then I found out about dry fasting. And I'd gone to every doctor and tried to get it fixed here and there and all these rinses and medicine, and nothing worked. Third day of a dry fast, sense of smell came back. Third day of a dry fast, my stem cells started being released from my stem cell niches and repaired the epithelial layer in my nose. So now I can smell again. And then, 2 years ago, I had an accident where I scratched my cornea in a bizarre gardening accident. And went into a dry fast, day 3 or 4. The stem cells around the cornea were activated to fix the cornea. Scar went away. I have a nice, wonderful cornea again. I can see clearly now. So I can only suggest to you dry fasting is a method for a lot of things, but if you have anything wrong with you, that should be the first thing you try. You know, if food is the problem, how can any kind of food be any part of the solution? And besides, almost 2,000 years ago, Hippocrates said, sometimes the best remedy is to do nothing. Well, that's what dry fasting is.